Hey, glad you could join me. Let's talk about solving two-step equations. Of course, first, quick reminder about our order of operations. Purple elephants merrily dance after sunset. Purple ears make dairy animals super. Parachuting emus may drop around Seattle. And again, reminds us, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Often referred to as PEMDAS. Right? Parentheses are the first thing we do. Then we do exponents. And then it's multiply or divide from left to right. Right? Multiply and divide are equal in priority. Finally, add or subtract from left to right. Addition and subtraction are equal in priority. Now, since there's only 4 categories, more mathematicians are using GEMS. Grouping symbols, right? Parentheses is just one type of grouping symbols. Exponents. And the M reminds us to multiply or divide from left to right. And then the S reminds us subtract or add from left to right. I'm old school. I use PEMDAS. If you're younger and up and coming and with it, you might say GEMS instead of PEMDAS. Same device to get you to memorize the order of operations. Now, if we're solving an equation, we actually want to reduce the order and undo the operations. This works when there's just one variable in the equation. So, for instance, if we're trying to solve for just mystery number x, this will work out. We start by undoing any addition or subtraction that's outside of the parentheses. We will then try to undo any multiplication or division outside of the parentheses. We then want to undo any exponent outside of the parentheses. And then we'll undo anything that's inside the parentheses using the same progression. All right, so we got a nice equation here. This one looks like it's actually more than 2 steps. I call this 2-step, but that's okay. Do you see any adding or subtracting outside the parentheses? Yes. I see addition of 8. Opposite of adding is subtracting. We'll subtract 8. Notice the 5 times x minus 4 just falls straight down. The equal sign falls straight down. 23 take away 8 is 15. Outside the parentheses, I now see multiplication. So I'll undo that multiplication with division. I'll divide both sides by 5. Notice the x minus 4 is not affected. Equal sign comes down. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Finally, I can undo subtraction of 4 by adding 4. And we get an answer of 7. Ooh, a little twist here. I see a 7x, but I also see a 3x. Since we're on the same side of the equation, I want to combine like terms. So the 7x and the 3x combine to be 10x. I still have my minus 6. I still have my equal 34. Undo adding or subtracting. Well, we better add 6 each side. So 10x equals 40. Opposite of multiplying by 10 is dividing by 10. Divide both sides by 10. and we come up with 4. Again, notice I try to keep the equal sign falling straight down the page, and as much as possible, I try to keep my variable x falling straight down the page. All right, now this is a little different. You say, hey, there's an x on each side of the equal sign. Well, we want to isolate the variable. In other words, we want all the variables on one side of the equation and all the numbers without a variable on the other side. I usually try to get my x's on the left-hand side, but it's not required. You just need to pick a side. I'm going to start by subtracting 3x from each side. 7x, take away 3x, will leave me with 4x. Now, others might have said, hey, why don't I start by undoing that minus 6? You could have done that. You could have started with undoing the subtracting 6. I just chose to start by moving the variable so it's all on the one side. Notice to cancel out the positive 3x, I subtracted 3x. Right? I wasn't trying to undo the multiplication there. I know that's 3 times x, but the multiplication was not my focus. I was not trying to undo that. I wanted to eliminate the 3x completely, so we did subtraction. Now it's a matter of, hey, let's add 6. If you add 6 on one side, you got to add 6 on the other side. 4x is 40. Opposite of multiplying by 4 will be dividing by 4. 40 divided by 4, 10. Woohoo! You've got to show the step-by-step work to communicate your thought process. Most of you will not get a job doing algebra equations all day long, but you will be finding solutions and you will be communicating your thought process. All right, I'm going to work with the class today to model the work. All right, time for the worksheet.